Welcome to the Temple of Limitless Lights, guided visualization for the path of Bait, the path of the magician on the tree of life. The number one card, stretching from Keller to Bina. We've been doing the entire tree, starting with Malkuth like 2 years ago. We were just talking about it, and now we're nearing the end. So if this interests you, you can join in these. Please click like and subscribe. You can join us on Facebook for weekly classes. Temple of Limitless Light. Put it in the um, first comment. So tonight, what we're going to do is first, Alana will read us a description of the path to help prime our subconsciouses for the journey, and then we will perform first a Kabbalistic cross to connect, ground, and I'll connect together as a group. Then I will do a lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram to create sacred space and a safe container for our magical work. And then from there, we'll open the gate of transformation to the path of Bait, and then proceed with the guided visualization. And at the end, we'll shut it down so you guys can stay in your meditative state.
Okay. The 12th path is the intelligence of transparency, because it is that species of magnificence called Shazit, or seership, the place whence issues the vision of those seeing in apparitions. Interesting. This path has a great deal to say about the idea of psychic vision. The transparency of the path implies a certain clarity that is needed for true revelation. It is the place of true prophecy or seership. This is not simply the lower psychic reflexes, but rather the pure and clear root of all higher spiritual visions. It is the revelation of the divine self as it emerges. From this vantage point, one is able to observe the arcane workings of all dimensions through various methods of psychic awareness and inner sight. The Hebrew letter Beit means house. This indicates that the 12th path is one of containment, sanctuary, or a place of being within. It's the dwelling place of the divine. Since it connects the pure consciousness in Kether to the maternal subconscious in Bina, this path represents the supreme self-consciousness that is the supreme seer, which knows and sees all. The 12th path alludes to potential manifesting into action. Since Bina is the sphere that limits form by dividing and organizing it, the path of Beit partakes of this function as well, organizing the creative potential energy from Kether into manifestation in Bina. It represents the primal will of the divine that is reflected in the purified will of the mortal human seeking to unite with it. This divine will seeks to manifest itself into diverse ideas of form as it descends down the tree. The student exploring this path should remember that the seership alluded to on this path is spiritual knowledge in its highest form. Although there is nothing wrong with exploring visionary gifts such as clairvoyance, it's important to not become an astral junkie who wanders aimlessly and carelessly on the astral planes. The key is to develop focused concentration, which allows the divine energy to be clearly seen.
Wow, that's fascinating. Seership.
I love it.
Mm-hmm. Qabalistic cross to connect and ground and unify us together. First, to sink into your body, feel the weight of gravity pulling you down, your weight in your chair, wherever you're sitting, standing, the solidity of your form. And just take a few deep breaths from your lower abdomen. Breathe in and just let your chest fall and breathe out very calmly and naturally. And when you're ready, visualize yourself growing larger and larger. Your head going up through the ceiling, through the sky, past the clouds, past the moon, and into deep space until the earth is but a small ball beneath your feet. Above your head is a ball of pure brilliance. Touch the light, bring it down to your forehead, and vibrate. Bring the light down to your heart, where you can silently say the name of your inner teacher. And then bring the light down to the center of your being, past your feet, into the planet, and vibrate. So now you're standing in a column of light connecting above to below. Bring the light up to your left shoulder and visualize a ball of blue flame representing your compassion, your unconditional love for all sentient beings. Bring the light across to your right shoulder. Visualize a ball of red flame representing your will, your boundaries. That's your arms. Le'olam. Amen. Jod, Rod, 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 Taro, Marato, Alarita. The lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram to create sacred space. Yeah. Hey. Our minds are clear. Adu Nai Tome. Our inspiration is clear. Our emotions are clear. Agera. connection to the world is clear. Before us, Raphael. Behind us, Gabriel. At our right hand, Mikael. At our left hand, Uriel. For around us flame the pentagrams, and within us shines a six-rayed star. The gate of transformation. I open the gates between worlds. I invoke the guide. I invoke the guardian. And I invoke the ordeal. I open the gates between worlds. Abra Ha Dabra. The Anakin call for bait. O el vino de losa de al el da triani odo eone antara camisa la hote de azones oda o de bet odo sticle la qua anta lo selque oro in oronin orive ahi do lote al kahilante do a mouth de yadna Alaneshi Oado Oal Owano Anim, Odo Al Balam, Odo Onom Noas, Odo Al Gia. Path of Bet has been opened.
The 10-sided chamber of Malkuth materializes around you. After you intone the divine names, Sandalphon appears and you exchange the usual signs. She inquires about your purpose in coming to her temple, and you hold up the infinity sign. The archangel leads you quickly through the portal of Tao in the east of the temple and up the 32nd path to the astral temple of Yesod. You rapidly ascend the tree through the path of Samek to Tippereth and continue up the path of Zion to the anomalous temple of Bina. The dark temple of the third Sephirah unfolds to your view. As before, the walls remain ambiguous, concealed by an impenetrable veil of darkness. The only thing that is visible is the central onyx altar, upon which are 3 white candles, a central temple flame in a bowl, and a white triangle. You vibrate the divine names which awaken the inhabitants of Bina. Yehovah Tzavki East of the altar, the dark raven-winged form of the archangel Tzafkiel emerges from dark mists, her form completely obscured by a black robe and a veil which covers her face. Tzafkiel speaks to you in a soft tone.
You have entered the realm of primordial form. By what symbol dost thou enter herein?
by the symbol of infinity.
Lafayette takes you to the east of the temple. You can just barely make out a yellow archway with the white letter "Beit" engraved on its keystone. Within the arch is a veil with the tarot image of the magician painted upon it. The archangel traces the symbol of Mercury on the door in the air before the archway, and the veil evaporates. In its place is a door carved out of tawny agate. Holding up the infinity sign, you trace the letter "Beit" before the door, which dissolves. Stepping through the portal, you hear the voice of Zafkael speaking to you as you enter the 12th path.
In the beginning, the Elohim created heaven and earth, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Ruach Elohim moved upon the face of the waters.
You are standing in a small wooden ship, an Egyptian bark, similar in design to the Metet boat of Re, the sun god. There is a small shrine in the center of the ship's deck, however. There is no god within. The shrine is empty. You are alone on the ship, except for one person sitting in the rear of the vessel, who seems to navigate the ship by a method you cannot see or comprehend. The figure sits slumped at the stern, concealed behind a mass of ragged cloaks and veils. The figure is completely unresponsive to you as he silently pilots the ship toward the distant light on the eastern horizon. It is nighttime. The blue-violet sky is speckled with white stars, and as you gaze up at the vastness of space, planets, constellations, and galaxies, the belt of the Milky Way is particularly brilliant. Looking up at the heavens, you notice 10 stars becoming larger and more noticeable than all the others. The 10 stars slowly move towards each other until they form the outline of the 10 spheres of the tree of life. Smaller stars gather around the larger ones until they form the outline of a human body. 2 stars appear where eyes would be, and a third is situated at the mouth. It's then that you realize that you're looking at a living being, Adam Kadmon, the heavenly man. He is the body of God, the divine prototype of humanity, with the crown of Kether above his head and Malkuth at its feet.
Adam Kadmon is the primordial being that is said to exist at the dawn of time itself, conceived before the archetypal world of Atziluth came into being. He is the intervening link between the Ein Sof and the order of the 4 Qabalistic worlds, which became manifest as existence evolved from the divine to the material. Adam Kadmon is the very consciousness of the divine. He contains within himself everything that is needed to create the manifest universe as a reflection of the divine universe. His body is the raw material from which the cosmos is constructed, and he is a mirror of reflection that is used by the divine to descend the 4 worlds of the Kabbalah and experience all aspects of creation. He's also a reflection of your own human consciousness, projected upwards into the archetypal realm of unity. Gazing up into the starry face of Adam Kadmon, you recognize a form of yourself as it exists in the supernal unity. Slowly, the stars that make up the image of the archetypal human disperse, and the heavens resume their usual appearance.
You hear someone stirring at the back of the boat. The mysterious navigator of the ship rises to his feet. Pulling off his ragged outer cloak, you are quite surprised to see Merlin the magician you first encountered on an earlier path. dressed in a linen shirt, leather trousers, brown cloak, and boots, his head covered by a green Celtic skull cap. He grasps his rowan staffs and regards you with eyes that appear deceivingly young. A brown hooded cloak covers his head and shoulders. You draw nearer as the hooded figure turns to face the east. He pulls back the hood of his cape to reveal a green skull cap embroidered with a Celtic design. It's good to see you again, fellow traveler, he tells you. Before your eyes, his form changes to that of a Hebrew ruler dressed in a royal robe and headdress. He is now the wise monarch and master magician of Israel, the great Solomon. He speaks to you. Except Adonai build the house, their labor is lost that build it. The figure changes form again, now appearing as a golden-skinned Egyptian priest with a shaven head, dressed in a white tunic, covered with the skin of a leopard. Hermes Trismegistus, the greatest magician of the Hellenistic era, stands before you bearing a papyrus scroll. He speaks.
Was he one or many, merging name and fame in one, like a stream to which, converging, many streamlets run?
The figure morphs again to the form of Merlin, magician, to King Arthur of Britain. He continues the speech where Hermes left off.
Who shall call his dreams fallacious? Who has searched and sought all the unexplored and the spacious universe of thought? Solomon the Wise takes the place of Merlin and resumes the rhyme. Who in his own skill confiding shall with rule and line mark the borderland dividing human and divine? You answer the riddle of the three magicians, Trismegistus, 3 times greatest, how thy name sublime has descended to this latest progeny of time. Hermes Trismegistus opens his papyrus scroll and begins to read out the following invocation. Be open, ye heavens, ye winds stand still, and let the immortal circle of God receive these words. O all ye powers that are in me, praise the one and the all. O holy knowledge, being enlightened by thee, I magnify the intelligible light and rejoice in the joy of the mind. For all things are done as the mind willeth. Thee I invoke, the bornless one, thee that didst create the earth and the heavens, thee that didst create the night and the day, thee that didst create the darkness and the light. Thou art Osoronophorus, whom no man hath seen at any time. Thou art Iabas, thou art Iapos. Thou hast distinguished between the just and the unjust. Thou didst make the female and the male. Thou didst produce the seed and the fruit. Hear me.
There is a rumbling in the night sky. Before your eyes, the celestial band of stars making up the Milky Way coalesce to a wild, flat strip of light that extends far out into the universe. Flanking this enormous stellar pathway, on either side is a procession of gods and goddesses, so vast in size that they easily dwarf the earth. As if this sight wasn't spectacular enough, a colossal figure appears at the far end of the path, a giant among gods. The figure walks down the path towards the earth. It is Thoth, the great god of magic, looking as you remember him from the sphere of Hod. Now, however, his radiant frame fills the night sky, a massive ibis-headed crown with the lunar crescent and solar disk. In his right hand, Thoth holds a lotus wand. He directs the top of the wand to a point out in space. He speaks without moving and utters a sound that can hardly be described as a word at all, but rather like the sound of 1,000 angels singing all the praises of God in all the languages of the world, yet united in one voice. As he emits the sound, you hear the voice of Hermes Trismegistus speaking to you in your mind.
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. A ray of light emanates from the tip of the lotus wand to strike a region of space where a dense interstellar cloud of hydrogen and dust is located. The cloud begins to collapse under the influence of its own gravity, becoming denser and hotter. A buildup of gases in the center of the cloud begins to exert an outward pressure that halts the collapse of the cloud. Then, in the very center of the cloud, a new cluster of stars begins to form. You've just witnessed the birth of a newborn galaxy, and you pause for a moment to reflect on this cosmic event. The colossal figure of Thoth and other gods fade from your view, but the new star system remains. You turn towards your shape-shifting companion and you notice that he's gone. Merlin, Solomon, Hermes, nowhere to be found. You are alone in the peaceful bark under the broad nocturnal sky. In the place where you previously saw the vision of Adam Kadmon and Thoth is the natural wonder of the aurora borealis. Luminous bands of shimmering light against the indigo backdrop of night.
Your journey into the paths of Beit has concluded. You return to Bina, where you are greeted by the archangel Zaphael. Following the paths of Zion, you return to the temple of Tiphereth, and from there you descend the path of Semek to Yesod. You continue down the path of Tau, temple of Malkuth. Xenophon closes the portal behind you. You salute the archangel of Malkuth with the projection sign, and she answers with the sign of silence. I open the path of return. We shall come forth by day. I invoke the guide. I invoke the guardian. And I invoke the ordeal. Abra Kadabra. We shall come forth by day and into the light. Uriel, we thank you for your grounding and inner contemplation. Gabriel, we thank you for the static states you lift us to. Michael, we thank you for your illumination and protection. Raphael, we thank you for your equanimity and balance.
By the merit of these activities performed here today, may all sentient beings know peace.
The rite is complete.